Welcome to Along for the Ride. This video is going to start a series in which I am going to attempt to trace the footsteps of Rascal, a pet of the author Sterling North that he had as a child in Edgerton, Wisconsin around 1918. And he named it Rascal, and in 1963 published a book about it. The book was set in a fictional town called Brailford Junction, but it was actually in his hometown at the time of Edgerton, Wisconsin. And as I was driving through Edgerton, Wisconsin the other day, I remembered that Sterling North did in fact experience the events that caused him to write the book Rascal in that town. And I in fact lived in that town in the early 70s for a while. And I remember listening to the audiobook Rascal. I remember reading it as a child, junior high, so 11, 12 years old, just like Sterling North was when he experienced it. In Edgerton, it was required reading in junior high. I remember reading the book. Something may have crossed my mind that, or mentioned to me that it was in Edgerton, Wisconsin. But later on in life, after I saw the movie and everything else, I realized, well, of course, when they were mentioning Lake Kashkonong, Indian Fort Dam, and the streets in Edgerton, Wisconsin, well, we lived 4 blocks from the house that he had Rascal in. So I was driving through Edgerton and I thought, well, let's stop and see the house. And then I thought, why not do a YouTube video series on the footsteps of Rascal? So here we are. So this is the house that Sterling North grew up in. He wrote the book Rascal about him and his pet raccoon in 1918. He lived here when he was 11 years old. I remember this house from when I lived in Edgerton when I was 11 years old. And in this room right here is where he built his canoe. The backyard barn where he kept a lot of his pets. And not far away, actually, right here is Methodist. It was a Methodist church back then, and he had a pet crow that lived in the steeple, and they would always get into a ton of trouble. So Sterling North, internationally known author of bestseller Rascal and 31 other books, was born in the town of Albion on the shores of Lake Kashkonong in 1906. His father, David, attended the Albion Academy. Sterling graduated from Edgerton High School in 1925. Following graduation, he attended the University of Chicago, class of 1929. North's early career as a journalist was impressive. He was literary editor of the Chicago Daily News from 1932 to 1943, the New York Post from 1943 to 1949, and New York World Telegraph and Sun 1949 to 1956. Upon leaving the newspaper field, North became general editor of North Star Books, a set of 40 serious volumes on American history. 5 were written by North. North's most successful books, all of which received awards, are So Dear to My Heart, Rascal, and The Wolfling. So Dear to My Heart and Rascal have been translated into many languages, and each has sold more than 1 million copies. Both were made into films by Walt Disney. Original manuscripts and other memorabilia are housed in the Sterling North Room in Camillian Hall. Rascal was a required read in junior high when I lived here in Edgerton. There's a little raccoon for you. And there's the back of the house. The house is open a few days a week, not very many. And you can visit it. And it's on the Wisconsin State Register of Historic Places. Open for tours Sundays, May through October, 1 till 4. So, a couple of more months yet. It's sort of funny. I just listened to this audiobook a couple of months ago, Rascal, and I've read it obviously decades ago. It was neat to see all the places, listen to all the places that he went to, and I also went to. Same places. All the way around Lake Koshkonong, Indian Ford. Just so cool, so cool. So in this series, I'll be taking you to various places in and around Edgerton, around Lake Koshkonong. We'll go to Indian Ford and other places that were mentioned in the book. And just remember, if you do come to South Central Wisconsin and you happen to go somewhere near Lake Koshkonong or Edgerton and you see a raccoon rooting around, being a little mischievous, remember, it could be one of Rascal's offspring. Thanks for watching.